I need a beer for this one. Yeah, so we're back, and we're not only back, but we're at one of those scenes in the Phantom Menace.
Indeed.
When I saw it opening night, 20 years ago now,
yes.
just celebrated the 20th anniversary, there was an audible groan in the audience in this scene. And for those of you who don't know, we're about 43 minutes into the Phantom Menace. It's the scene where the sandstorm's going on, and they're hunkered down in Anakin Skywalker's home, having a meal together.
Yes.
And, it's, the biggest problem in the universe is no one helps each other. That line is in this sequence.
Right.
And when that was said, literally, like, there was some dudes in the audience, and they were just like, oh, I mean, just out loud groan.
Yes. Yes.
There's some other things going on in the scene, though, Devin.
There are some nuggets of goodness, yes.
There are. One is Liam Neeson's performance in the scene.
Yes.
There's this interesting moment where Anakin asks Qui-Gon, you're a Jedi, aren't you?
Right.
Not really a question. It's just like, you are.
Yes.
And there's this really interesting play back and forth. And, Anakin's like, he says something really interesting when Qui-Gon says, what if I killed a Jedi and took the lightsaber from him? And Anakin's like, well, no one can kill a Jedi.
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon has this, Liam Neeson has this wonderful moment where he's like, I wish that were so.
Yes.
Foreshadowing something that's going to happen later. I did find a few interesting things in the scene. And I think, when you watch it, it's easy to criticize a scene like this. Mainly because some of the acting is wooden, and it's hard to, find yourself along for the ride.
Right.
You almost become a critic because of some of the issues within the scene.
Sure.
But with that said, Qui-Gon again fascinates me. And here's how he fascinates me in the scene. I want to know what you think about it.
Yeah.
I've often heard fans say, Qui-Gon doesn't want to free the slaves. He's kind of a loser Jedi. And there's a lot going on, though, because, Anakin says, you're here to free the slaves. And Qui-Gon's like, nope.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, come on, Jedis need a free. But then he says to Anakin, I noticed that nothing gets past you.
Right.
We're in a bad situation. And there's a whole other planet with billions of creatures on it that we're needing to help out.
Right.
And one of the things that makes Qui-Gon so interesting is those complexities, making those decisions of, okay, yes, slavery is evil, but there's a whole other planet that's being subjugated right now, and I'm involved with helping in that situation.
Yeah.
It goes to this deeper wisdom that Qui-Gon has.
Right.
How do you feel about the scene and the sequence and Qui-Gon within it?
Well, I do love the foreshadowing. I think here are some things, right? As a historian by day,
Yes.
I find it intriguing that this is how we paint the picture of slavery.
Yeah, we've talked on it talked about it in previous episodes.
And I get that we don't maybe need to make it as dark as actual history.
Yeah.
But this is slavery light.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got her own little dwelling with electricity, and he's got droid space. So, listen, I'm not making light of it. I'm saying it's interesting how we've kind of cast a light on that.
Yeah.
I do love Qui-Gon's immediate reaction to the question, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes to his understanding the higher purpose.
Yes.
And understanding that mission first, right?
Yeah.
I do like, though, how he does have the interplay with Anakin.
It's good.
And the closing moment of the scene is we zoom in on Qui-Gon's eyes too, and this is where we start to get the glimmer of what we talked about last episode. Is this whole prophecy thing, where you can see the wheels turning within Qui-Gon's head.
And it's Liam Neeson.
Right.
I mean, I know one of the biggest hits the Phantom Menace takes is its acting,
right,
and the delivery of the dialogue and all that. But throughout the Phantom Menace, I felt like Liam Neeson did phenomenal work, and I actually think he's doing some of his best work here. Even in the show don't tell sequence where he is working it out, he's identifying this kid as something very unique. He obviously, there's something going on within the Force. He feels something, but also just how the child is interacting with them, what he sees, like the wheels are turning.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Qui-Gon sees something. Qui-Gon is a endlessly fascinating character. One of the things, we always talk about, like, what can we take away from Star Wars? It's a children's film, children's story. Phantom Menace is no different. Kids love it. Yet there's so many things you can pull out of it and just apply to life. And I think one of the things as we see here is this issue that all of us as human beings deal with.
Yeah.
It is prioritizing what is needed and when and how much energy can you give to whatever this issue is. And here's what I mean. In my job, right, I have all these things that I need to do, right? And if I try to do all of them, I'll just burn out.
Sure.
And I'm sure people watching this, same situation. If I do all of these things, I will not be able to healthily live my life.
Right.
How do I prioritize what's needed, when and where? And Qui-Gon, like you said, he stays on mission.
Right.
He is like, this is what I'm to do. I've committed myself to this. I'll get this done.
Right.
I'm going to throw something out there. I think if Qui-Gon didn't die, he would have freed Anakin's mom, Shmi.
Interesting.
I think he would have gone back and freed and dealt with that situation.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of Jedi he was. And I really believe it.
That goes down a very interesting rabbit hole, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if that happens, then we don't know if the Tusken Raiders ever grab Shmi. We don't know. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a drink.
Butterfly effect.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, but seriously though, Qui-Gon, it's great that Master and Apprentice is out.
Yeah.
I hope down the road Disney Plus does a series on Qui-Gon, a younger Qui-Gon. I think he's an endlessly fascinating Jedi. That really, the more you think about the Phantom Menace, his role in the Phantom Menace, you realize it's almost like he's the pebble that hits the still pool of water, causing these ripple effects. Because if he stays and trays Anakin, different deal.
Right.
He goes, and yet even in his departure, and we'll talk about that at the end of as we get to the end of Prequels and A Pint.
Spoiler.
He dies, and yet in his death, he shows up again within the story, calling Yoda and Obi-Wan to something deeper, more meaningful, that then has ripple effects throughout.
Yeah.
You strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Right.
Obi-Wan just doesn't come up with that by himself. Yeah. It's through Qui-Gon helping Yoda, Yoda helping Obi-Wan. I find it interesting.
Obi-Wan's guide to pickup lines.
He would be stellar, man.
That would be amazing.
It's the movie of Obi-Wan hooking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go home and rethink our lives.
Together.
Together.
All right, we're out of here.